Hi everyone, my name is Lawrence Bello. Start off my speech, I'm going to give a little introductory story. So there's an adolescent by the name of Kevin. He lives in the Philadelphia metropolitan area. And he was celebrating Christmas time with his girlfriend. They were wrapping presents. And as we all know, when you wrap presents, you use wrapping paper, scissors, very simple material tools. And as we live in a fast-paced society, sometimes we put things in our luggage and we don't sometimes think so much about it. Well, he put the scissors in his backpack, and this was a Sunday evening, so the next day is Monday at school. And his school is one of the schools in Philadelphia that are being enforced with zero-tolerance policies. So as he's entered the school, Kevin goes through metal detectors, and the security guards suddenly notice the alarm go off on Kevin, and when they look at his backpack, they find the scissors. And with zero-tolerance policy, there's no gray area about what the issue is. It's either you're right or you're wrong. So, long story short, he was arrested, cited, and expelled from the school. And it's one of the numerous ways that zero-tolerance policies have been detrimental. So, I'll give a little, really emphasize my main claim. Zero-tolerance policies negatively affect our schools by zero-tolerance and strict and uncompromising application of rules. And negative effects are bad implications evident from zero-tolerance. So let me give a little background on how the zero-tolerance policy made our way to many of our schools. Numerous events in our country have led to these zero-tolerance policies. They just didn't come out of nowhere. It began with the high crime index the U.S. faced in the late 1980s to the early 1990s. Thus, policies even further began to fully throttle across the nation after the Columbine shooting event at the school. These events made people rise to problem-solving skills, but these zero-tolerance policies were one of the first things. And now schools then began to rely on police and juvenile courts versus counselors. So let me go over my secondary claims before I go in detail. First off, zero-tolerance policies increase disciplinary cases and expulsion rates. It is also creating additional crime statistics, and it hurts the economy around school. So first off, minor misconduct now becomes a serious crime. It's no longer a minimal thing. And I got the story of Kevin by Fox Philadelphia channel, and the story was accessed from there. And as we can see from the story, mistakes are not allowed with zero tolerance. So students are being pushed out or expelled for minor infractions such as scissors. It could be a butter knife to get your jelly sandwich ready at school, whatever is the case. So according to a study by Youth United for Change, an advancement project, zero tolerance policies have expelled students between 2008 and 2009. Most of them were between the ages of 8 and 14 years old. So you can see the effects and the target group. So zero tolerance policies, second of all, is also creating additional crime statistics. They do that because schools with zero tolerance policies on average had an arrest rate of 3.5 more times than schools that don't have zero tolerance policies. Schools with zero tolerance also had arrests for the same infractions twice as much as their counterpart schools. So in essence, if you have a school with 30 violations of carrying a butter knife, and you also have another school with the same amount of violations, the school with a zero tolerance policy is going to have twice as many arrests. This was also found in a study by the Youth for Change. And when zero tolerance policy became enacted from 2005 to 2009, a 4-year span, arrests in the schools rose from 58% to 73%. In essence, zero tolerance policies are increasing crime statistics, disciplinary cases, and even expulsion. Furthermore, zero tolerance policies in schools are hurting the local economy and the people who use the schools as well. The high crime statistics, first of all, lower property values by 10%, as cited by the American Economy Review in 2004. And these schools also receive less funding if they're seen as incompetent, which they are with these high rates of negativity. Students are also affected by zero tolerance policies, had their parents miss work and lose pay. This occurred because many students who were affected and arrested had to go to court-mandated penalties, and these parents many times paid for legal representation. This was all found in the report as well. So you can see the zero tolerance policies are very ineffective for improving the school. That's why I cited since the beginning that they negatively affect our schools. So I want to conclude with zero tolerance policies negatively affect our schools and a variety of different factors, specifically in disciplinary, economic factors, and expulsion rates. Thank you.
All right, well, you labeled the claim pretty clearly. The secondary points, at first I didn't think there was going to be any labeling of them, but then you finally got to it 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the speech. So you're more than a third of the way in when you get to labeling what the secondary claims are going to be. As you got to the first one, you labeled it pretty clearly. After that, though, the closest that I got to transitions was the word furthermore. And if you're paying close attention, you can catch the other two that you've got there. I didn't understand why you didn't just put in the numerical signpost to go along with it. I do think you help yourself a little bit at the end by that summary statement, because that does help remind us of what those points were supposed to be. And so it's just in the body of the speech, I think you could do a little bit better job signposting on those things. Now your proof basically consists of the one example that you use in the attention device, and then this study by this particular group that looks at this, and they've got some references to crime rates and the number of arrests versus the number of incidents that they had. And I thought that that information was okay, but I think we need a little bit more detail on it to be able to make some of the inferences that you're talking about. You're talking about it's going to have an impact on the neighborhoods. It's going to have some cost to, economic cost to the parents and families. And the fact that we've got a single example that's being cited, I think, is a little bit problematic. You mentioned, for instance, that there were expulsions under these policies in 2008, 2009. You had this 1 year, but I didn't get the number of expulsions that occurred under these zero tolerance policies. I did get some statistical comparisons, but they were not always of the amount of expulsions, and there certainly weren't any on costs. The notion that this is causing crime, I think, is the part that, that's your link to the other parts about economic impact in the neighborhoods and that sort of thing. And, the only link to the crime that I could hear was that it's, people have been arrested as a consequence. Well, if they've been arrested, that seems like it would be preventing a crime. I know that the idea of carrying the scissors in your backpack doesn't really sound like a crime, and I'm very sympathetic to that particular position, but I think you've missed some of the other elements here, and I think you're over-claiming some other issues. That there is a problem with these policies, I think you could probably build a stronger case on concerning the impact that it's going to have on the schools or the families. The economic issue, I think, is kind of a stretch. All right, thank you.